just as like a little background on me, I'm someone that I channel, which means that as I talk, I'm bringing through energy of what I always call on before I give a talk is Christ light. But you could just think of it as like energy from my higher self, or energy from angels, and it flows through me as I give the talk. And as I'm talking, I'm able to feel what's going on in everyone's energy and body. And so the topics that come up, while I do plan a little bit for the video, are often addressing things that are also going on in people's lives that watch this. So, to talk about world peace a little and how that's going to dawn on the planet, I think oftentimes humans tend to give their power away to government or to the political system, and they think that the right candidate, the right the right political leaders are gonna be what changes the energy on this planet or creates world peace for this planet. And I say, while that's a nice intention to have, what's really going to create peace for people is when humanity stops waiting for a caretaker or someone in an office to make the first step, and we look at our own life and go, I cannot control other people. All I can control is my life. And what if I took my frustration of the wars, of the trauma and abuse and neglect and hardship that happens every day on this planet, and I did my best to be someone who stands for the opposite of that. And that doesn't mean if we're in hardship or we're having challenging situations or we're arguing with our ex-partner that we're doing anything wrong. Because sometimes people are going to be a little abrasive, and in order for you to stand for what is right, might have to debate with them a little bit, or just make them clear. But maybe we do it in a little bit more of an impassioned tone of our voice of what is actually right for us, or what is actually okay and what's not okay. And so there's nothing there's nothing we're doing wrong by maybe being passionate when we're talking to someone, but something to be aware about is to start to look at our own life, and that peace does not start with leaders. It starts with the people that the leaders are managing or leading or manipulating, or whatever you want to assign the verb of what leaders do on this planet. Um, and that when we look at our own life, what are the things that we do that takes away from peace in our life? What are the things that we are addicted to? What are the patterns we play out that are negative or toxic to our body that is causing less peace for our body? Because if you really want to think about peace, where peace comes from, and even peace is like on a vibrational scale of joy. So where joy comes from peace. And how we find peace in our life is by finding greater harmony and well-being and coherence in our body by how we take care of it. And the things that we do that are negative, toxic, harmful for our body are the things that are stripping our energy field of peace and creating more creating more disharmony, karma, negativity within us, that are then energetically is a little bit influencing the people we're connecting to. And we also have whatever we're doing that's creating greater well-being, creating greater love, creating greater peace or joy in our life, also influences those we are connected to. Because you can almost think of yourself as like, I mean, I don't like there's a lot of talk on like souls, and I'm a soul and I'm an old soul, this person's a new soul, I'm a star seed. And all that's beautiful. And I think that's a nice thing to be like to think about or to be aware of I might have had other lifetimes on this planet, or I might have even been living lives for a long time. And maybe that's just a reminder of there's probably a lot more power for me to access in this life than even I'm aware of in this moment if I've really lived thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of lifetimes. And when we're thinking about how we access that power, it's by being handling the power we have in this moment well. Which means if I have power over this body, can I make sure that I handle that well and I take the best care of this body so that way my life is this body is full of the greatest life force energy or vitality for as long as possible so that I can have the most energized, fulfilling, exciting life. Because if I break down this body, it's no fun to drive a used beat up car. And we get to choose how long that car is new and fresh and running well, and how long that car is broken down and barely functioning. And you can rejuvenate, you can repair whatever car you're currently in at this moment, whatever we've done in the past. It's not a death sentence. Our body is so incredibly adaptable, but it's about looking at what are the things that are stripping this body of life, and can I do that less? Because as I do that less, I'm literally anchoring more peace for this planet, and I'm influencing all those I'm connected to, but and like clearing like a snowy road in front of all the other cars that are waiting to drive on the road so that they can have an easier time finding peace. And so when one person finds peace within themselves, they are paving the way for other peoples to also take that same road or path. And those people will have an easier time on the path because you paved the way first. And so looking at what do I do that is harmful for my body? And I don't need to be hard on myself. I don't need to shame myself or beat myself up or feel guilty about it. But can I take those, when I feel an urge, can I go, what would actually be supportive for me in this moment? What would be something that actually serves my well-being? And can I choose that? Maybe I don't get it right every time, but more often than not, than my craving or unconscious desire that usually is trying to numb whatever I'm feeling. Because if we can work towards finding greater freedom from our patterns by slowly choosing something that's serving our well-being rather than choosing something that we do that's addictive or instant gratification to forget for a moment how we feel or what we think about ourselves. If we can just slowly work to make a better choice over time, you will find yourself making that choice more often than not. Because almost like learning to throw a baseball or learning how to drive or learning a new instrument, the more you practice something, the easier it becomes just to do it. And so if we can practice, even if we mess up 5 times before you go, you know what, instead of tonight me smoking weed, I'm just going to take a bath and read a book. If we can practice of slowly moving towards greater well-being, we will eventually just find ourselves in that well-being. And it will all of a sudden be like, oh, I let go of the pattern. And it won't, and it might not even necessarily be a big deal because change happened. The most like stable change happens slowly and gradually. And if we're in an addictive pattern, it's just about trying again. And every time I feel this urge to smoke weed, to use pornography, to go on the dating apps and find someone that will distract me from myself for a couple days. So I can, when I'm talking to this person, I can forget about who I am for just a little. Like the more we go, maybe that isn't the most healthy thing to do. And maybe if I took all this time I'm pouring out into dating apps, and actually took it as time to love and connect with myself, to do things that are serving my body or do things I really enjoy, I might be a little bit more happier and I might even feel a little bit more at peace. Because swiping left and right on people and treating people like they're playing cards isn't the most conscious path to find a partner, and it isn't really even the most conscious thing to be doing regularly. And if we are, and if we want to use it as a way of getting to know people in a new city, like that it's part of things is this serving me or is this like subtly toxic? And another part of it is, what is my intention behind using this? Like if I intend to use Bumble Friends as a way of meeting new people in a city, I would say that's fine. If I intend to try and find a partner on dating apps and I spend every night scrolling, hoping I'm going to find the right person, I would say we might want to spend a little bit more time connecting with ourselves rather than doing that, because you attract the right person by who you are. And when we people talk about manifesting a soulmate, it's really about attraction. And when you can attract and when you become the person that can handle that a soulmate is oftentimes when that soulmate walks into your life. And the moment you crave or desire a partner the most is when you need it the least. Because it's coming from I'm not whole without this person. Like that's where our real craving and thirst for partnership comes from. And And when we become okay of, you know what, maybe I'm going to have an awesome life, whether I have a partner or not. And maybe I don't really need a partner to enjoy this day or to enjoy the next week I have. And I can be okay being alone. And I can really sit in and savor my alone time and take all the time I have to myself as a time to just celebrate and appreciate this life I've been given and to do things I freaking love, like playing guitar or going sitting by the lake or going to dance somewhere. We'll find that we actually have a much easier time with our experience. And it's when we're trying to run from our experience and think some other person is going to save us, which is kind of like the same idea of a leader or government is going to heal all the wars on the planet. No one is going to save you from your experience. And if you can save yourself by prioritizing your body's well-being, by prioritizing what brings you joy, by prioritizing finding things that feel good, that are nourishing and supportive for your body, and doing that every day more often than not, all of a sudden we start to feel a lot less lonely and a lot less alone, because that feelings of aloneness and loneliness is when we're trying to run from the body and using anything outside of ourselves as a distraction from connecting with ourselves because we don't like who we are. And to learn how to like who you are is learning how to love yourself as you are in this moment, no matter how perfect or imperfect you view yourself. And no matter how many patterns, how many addictions you have, if you can just go, you know what, maybe all these patterns and addictions are things I inherited from my ancestors or things I inherited from my family, and and I was taught how to avoid my emotions. I was taught to seek instant gratification. And so I don't need to feel bad about it, but can I slowly work to become a little bit better and change and look at the things I use that are toxic, like weed? Like no doctor is going to tell you that smoking is good for your body, no matter what you're smoking. And so if we can smoke a little bit less and maybe run a little bit more or do something that's cardio a little bit more and anchor the opposite of harm for our lungs, all of a sudden the area where our lungs exist are going to start to feel more peaceful, more light, more healthy. And that is energy. That isn't just the experience of your lungs, but that is literally the energy your lungs are holding. And then when you're interacting with others, the health you have in your lungs, energetically, the positivity of that everyone is empathic and everyone can feel how other people's bodies are, no matter whether they're aware of it fully or not, and it influences people. And you can almost think of your body like a map of the world. And when you anchor well being and health for your body, you are anchoring well being and health for everyone in that area who exists on the planet that is represented with that area of your body. And things like also, okay, let's talk about like pornography. Like pornography is never something that's going to serve your well-being. It is something that creates unconsciousness, something that gets you lost in fantasies about sex, and it makes people prioritize sex over connecting with people, and it creates a desire for people to use people's bodies, use someone else who's consenting to have a casual sexual relationship, and ignoring the aspect of, can I really get to know this person? Can I love this person? Right? It makes the desires and cravings more important than the love we share between our heart and another. And so if we really want to stand for peace, can we slowly work to choose pornography less? And maybe instead of using pornography, I go for a walk outside, I go do a workout, and I look at I even think about like, what is the opposite energy of pornography, and can I use that instead? Like for me, I used to use pornography in high school and a little in college, and even a little after that too. Is like a slow burn of like me stopping it and then falling back into the pattern and then stopping again. But for me, like, one of the things that I do now as a way of serving my well-being is there's a spiritual teacher named Diana Cooper. She's out of England. And if you just Google search Diana Cooper and angels, she would pop up. And she does like visualizations where you're like visualizing connecting with angels, or visualizing going to a healing retreat and upgrading the light DNA within your body, or upgrading the light that your cells can hold. And she does, every visualization is like 20 to 40 minutes. And she has free ones on YouTube, and she has paid ones on her website that are like $11. But I mean, for me, that's been like something that has kind of taken the place of using pornography. Like when I feel like I want to rest, or feel like I just want to feel greater peace in my body, like doing one of her visualizations, I literally feel all this angelic energy pouring through me as I do the visualization. And I always feel deeper peace, more relaxed. Some of the stress of the day gets wiped away. And it feels, in some ways, I mean, it's like instead of staring at my screen and watching people hump each other, like looking at my screen and connecting to a higher consciousness and anchoring a higher consciousness within my body rather than a lower one, rather than a consciousness that is solely based on desires, cravings, and chasing pleasure while ignoring people's heart, or ignoring the long-term implications of having sex with someone, sharing a bunch of energy with this person maybe we barely know, or and valuing that over actually getting to know someone, or actually building a relationship of love and connection with another. And like, also, to be aware of, another thing we can be aware of is when I'm stressed out, do I find myself scrolling on my phone more often? When I'm riding the train or bus, is my face in my phone? When I'm, when I'm, when I'm like, when I'm tired at night, am I just scrolling endlessly? And that's what I call relaxing, because that is not relaxing. That is literally constant stimulation. And stimulation isn't peace. And sometimes it's okay to find a little stimulation, or to watch a movie or watch a TV show, but that should not be our only way to relax. And we should even ask the question, instead of me constantly devouring content and even constantly devouring books, while I would say reading a book is probably a little bit better for you than scrolling on Instagram, what would it be like just to sit and sit and find a different way to relax after a hard day? Maybe that's lying lying down and listening to some of my favorite music or listening to a sound healing on YouTube. Maybe that's going to do, like, oftentimes if we're tired and we've sat all day, the thing that would actually be restful is working out or actually moving our body differently than how we moved it all day. And so can we just be aware of, what did I do all day? What would be actual balance for me? And can I work to find something that's less stimulating than maybe the peak, less stimulating rather than peak stimulation? Because our ego loves stimulation because it thinks it's exciting, but it's really our ego addicted to drama and not our ego craving finding deeper peace. And if we can think about what would be an activity that would be more peaceful, that would be give me a greater sense of peace rather than give me a greater sense of agitation. Like, even just like maybe it's just like cooking ourselves a nice meal and then stretching a little and going to bed. Like, whatever would just be a little bit more restful and peaceful than scrolling on our phone. And we can try something and see how we feel. And while working out might be a little bit more getting our blood flowing, if you felt into your body after a workout, you always feel more relaxed than before you started the workout. And so just being aware of, can I look at my life and can I take that to find, and can I look at the areas of my life that aren't serving my well-being, or that could be a little fine-tuned, or that I could find a little bit more balance. And so if I'm sitting a lot, maybe I take the time in my evening when I don't have to sit to move around, to dance, to exercise. If I don't have a lot of things that are playful in my life, maybe I find something in my free time that's playful, because playfulness is an aspect of humanity that doesn't get addressed enough. And everyone, it feels happier when they're playing. And even doing something like an improv class, or doing contact improv, or doing some type of thing, some even playing a sport, will bring you greater joy. And joy is in the same alignment with peace. And the more we anchor joy, the more we look at our life and anchor peace by just finding things that are a little bit serving our well-being a little bit more, the more we will anchor peace in our body that will influence all we're connected to, and it'll create little waves that start to create more and more peace on the planet. And maybe we're already doing a great job of that, but there's an infinite way to do a little bit better every day. And can we just work to continue to anchor more and more peace in our life? And one of the last things I would just like to add before I close this out is um, thinking about like, for me, when I ride the bus, when I ride the train, when I walk, one of the things I do is I pray for peace. Because, praying and sitting at home kind of just means I don't get a lot done during the day. So what I do is, as I'm doing things where I don't really have to focus on anything, like riding the bus, walking down the street, is I say prayers of peace. And one of the prayers I say is, you could call on the universe, highest divinity, angels, whatever one you like, but I'll just use highest divinity. But I'll say, highest divinity, please bring world peace, balance, and harmony to all on this planet. And I will just repeat that over and over again as I walk. And what you notice is that you will start to feel a little bit more elevated in consciousness, but you'll also feel your heart open up. You'll feel more peaceful. And it's a way to amplify the peace within your body as you go for a walk, as you do your day. Another thing you could do is set intentions for your day. So, like, you could say, with every step I take today, may I infuse the ground with greater peace and healing. May every breath I take, I heal, rejuvenate this body, and fill it with deeper levels of love and peace today. May every time I blink my eyes, I bless all with greater love, mercy, compassion, and forgiveness, because what you speak out into the world has power. And when we take the words we say as and use them to anchor greater peace. Every word you say has energy to it, and when we anchor positive words with what we say out, either under our breath or out loud. And for me, usually when I'm praying on the bus or walking along the street, I just say it under my breath. You will start to notice that more and more peace is anchored in your body just by your willingness to anchor it by using the power of your words. So I hope that helps. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye.